Hi, I'm Jacqueline. I've been fortunate enough to travel a fair bit due to my work, leading trips and expeditions with a community environmental or wellness base on 6 continents and now to around 92 countries. And that's given me quite a unique insight into different cultures, beliefs and environments. And I'm really passionate about trying to get under the skin of what unites us as one human race, despite all of those differences and all of that diversity. I'm also interested in ways that we can best live in harmony with nature. Currently, I'm here in the St. Elizabeth region of southern Jamaica, Treasure Beach to be exact. I've been here before and I have to say I feel that there's something quite special about this place, and I think it has a lot to do with its community. I feel that here they really do work as one, together, for the good of all, including the environment. And so I'd like to explore that further with you by showing you the area and introducing you to a variety of its wonderful characters here, of the people here, from a senator to fishermen to Rastafarians, farmers, musicians, preacher men, and many more. So Jason, I've got to tell you, we've been talking to locals everywhere around this area, and all of them have said that they've never heard of you. They don't know what you do. Of course I'm kidding. This is Jason Hensel he's the chairman of Jakes, and everybody in this whole region knows exactly who he is for many reasons which we're about to discuss. So funny. Jason, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you
for being here. Mm-hmm. Let's start by talking about your childhood. Like, where were you born and what kind of childhood upbringing did you have?
Okay, so I was born in Mandeville because that's where my grandparents settled when they came from England in the 20s. And then I lived in Kingston until I was 6 years old. And we lived on the same compound as where my father had his studio. So you'd actually come to our home first, and then you'd kind of walk down to where my father had his studio and the editing room and his advertising office. So there was kind of no division between my father's work and our family life, which is not a bad thing because it exposed me to all these characters, you know.
Must have done.
Yeah. So they're this incredible cast of characters that would come through what people would just call 10A. Literally, that was just like, it's 10A West Kings House Road.
You didn't have to say the rest of the
but
address.
But people that say
well
10A, I'll meet you at 10A.
I imagine you would have had lots of artists, actors, you know, creatives coming through all the time.
Absolutely, but
free spirits.
But more than that, you know, political activists, politicians, just a wide range of people. And my mother always said, like, she would just set the table for as many as it could hold because she just didn't know who was going to turn up
really?
that day.
Was it like that?
Yeah,
How
it was like that.
What a great education in its own way for you.
It was, you know, I guess it really shaped who I was. But then at 6 years old, when my father made The Harder They Come, he realized that he would have to travel the world as an independent to distribute the movie. And we're now talking about 1976. Kingston was pretty tense.
Yes.
During that period. And our house was kind of like Grand Central Station, right?
Really?
So my parents bought this old abandoned house in Runaway Bay that was built in 1660. You know, no electricity, no telephone, no running water inside the house. And from one day to the next, I was taken out of a private school in Kingston and taken to this home. And it was just like this huge transition, but one that as a youngster, you know, it just seemed like an adventure.
Right, good.
You know, and I would walk to school, probably 4 miles each way, 4 to 5 miles. It was called Beverly All Age. But I was a keen footballer, right?
Really?
Yeah. And, you know, we would just always be playing football. And one of the things I remember is, you know, my father, you'd never know when he was coming back. I mean, you may get a telegram every now and then, But he himself had no idea. He would go to Miami airport and kind of, put some quarters in and make some calls, and that would kind of determine where he went next. And it was kind of like a bit of a
Fly by the seat of his pants.
completely.
Wow.
So he could have been gone for 2 weeks or 2 months or 3 months.
That varied. Wow.
Absolutely. And I remember as a young boy waking up early one morning and seeing his VW van outside and knowing that he would have, came home late, right? And, oh boy.
This is going to be good.
Wow. So I woke up in the morning and went out to my father's VW bus, and it was full of footballs. And he had been to Brazil, and he had made some deal where they couldn't pay him in cash, and they paid him in footballs, right?
Right.
So I remember being so excited. I remember there were 80 leather black and white Adidas footballs.
Wow.
Like, it was very specific.
Which to you at that age.
Oh my
is
God! Like to have one ball was
Yeah.
like incredible. And I remember my father and I just like driving through the community and giving out balls.
Really?
Yeah, and and we distributed them to like just wherever we saw people and to schools, and and just giving a kid a football, you saw how the kid's face was lit up, like you'd given them, the best thing in the entire world. It's just a football. And that just had a profound impact on me, So I think in one country he went to, he was paid in like boots, like it was like Venezuela or somewhere.
Wow.
So he'd come back with these crazy stories, And it's funny because later on in life I realized like how much of an independent he was, and how much of a pioneer he was in taking that Jamaican culture, internationally, and just believing in it, because many people told my father that he should not let the Jamaicans speak in that deep dialect,
Really?
but kind of like to twang it up a bit so that the American audience could listen. And he was like, no, I want it raw. I want it authentic. And, it's really amazing because those cans of film back then they weren't light. And, and he took them to, I think, 44 different countries.
Did he really?
Yeah, and he'd come back with these incredible stories.
I'm wondering if that moment with the footballs, which must have been so pivotal in your
Right.
when you saw the reaction of the people, the local people being given those things,
Yeah.
if it impacted how you are now and what you do. how you work.
Absolutely.
So that was a key moment.
Yeah, it was a key moment, and you have those throughout your life with different people. That's different. I feel proud that I live what I think is like a purpose-driven life, and you go through life and these signs are all around you, and it's when you just connect back these dots and you realize like I can make a difference, in a small way one day, in a huge way another day, maybe you mess up the day after, but just keep trying, and when I was, again later on, because I was exposed to The Harder They Come, and my father may be interviewing these somewhat kind of Robin Hood figures, political activists.
The bad guys who were
Yeah.
doing good.
When my mom started Jake's much later on in my life, it's like she opened the door for me to be an entrepreneur, and she started this Treasure Beach journey for me because her father, had built Treasure Cot in 1941. So her childhood memories were here. And then this was the family beach house. So my sister and I would come here for our childhood memories and our holidays. So much later on in life, when I started working and I came here and saw what she was doing with the restaurant, for her it was really just a hobby, right? And she just wanted somewhere to eat, and because there was nowhere to eat in the area. And she bought this little, this tiny little wattle and daub house. And I just remembered my childhood memories coming back and just thinking, if I had so much fun here, surfing in the waves and, running up and down and playing football on the beach with kids, I just thought other people would come as well, you know, because the only people coming were backpackers, you know, mainly from Germany. And I was just like, no, I know people would come from other parts of the world if they knew about it.
Right. Are you familiar with that line in Alice in Wonderland where they talk about doing 6 impossible things before breakfast?
Yes.
That's how I think of you.
Well, that's how my mother thinks.
I mean, she called you a dynamo.
Oh,
'Cause,
gosh.
You know, there are people, lots of people have a lot of great ideas.
Right.
But you somehow not only put them into action, but you managed to manifest these things successfully by engaging people around you, giving people opportunities and making them happen. It's quite something to watch.
You know, I think when something feels right and you get the right people around you and you train them and you empower them and you know, a lot of people take things for granted that's right on their doorstep. And when I mean, my mother created this place with all local builders, and 100% of our staff are from this area. So there's a lot of local pride, and I think that comes across when you come to Jake's. You feel like a visitor. You don't feel like a tourist, or you don't feel like a number.
You feel like someone who's been invited in to be a part of the community for a while.
Right.
It's a lovely feeling.
Exactly.
So let's talk about Jake's.
Yeah.
It started, as you said, with your mum kind of buying a bit of land, putting in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, had you been off, you'd worked in a hotel somewhere else?
My first job ever was with the Hyatt Hotel as a night auditor, which was a job no one wanted.
Right.
And then I got into managing a restaurant. But what I always wanted to be was a banker when I was young. I wanted that stability.
Right.
So I managed an investment bank in Montego Bay for 4 years prior to joining my mother here.
Okay.
And
So
everyone kind of thought I was crazy to kind of give up being the branch manager of an investment bank to come to Treasure Beach.
Yeah. But obviously with hindsight we can see that everything that happened was the perfect background for what you're doing now, being an entrepreneur, making things happen. You had that banker background. You'd met all the diverse people you'd met in your childhood.
It's true.
So how did Jake's grow and build?
You know, I kind of looked at it as my mother was an artist, and my job was to just give her more canvas and more paint to create. So in our case, it was, you know, trying to buy more land. And we were just very lucky. A lot of the land that we acquired to expand Jake's became available. And that was just a stroke of being lucky and just being blessed, really.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. And I think that us getting into Treasure Beach at that time and what land prices were back then versus now. And I just feel like we have this opportunity to like just pass our blessings on, you know, by, you know, remaining low density, and really being somewhat as, you know, an example, hopefully for the rest of the area to follow.
Not
which
just
is
the rest of the area, for the rest of the world, I would say. But
well, you know, most of Jamaica is all-inclusive hotels. 98% of properties in Jamaica are all-inclusive. And we're just the dead opposite. We never want to see an all-inclusive hotel in Treasure Beach. You know, our version of all-inclusive is including everyone.
So I'm here today in this beautiful house with Sally Hensel, who is key to the story of Treasure Beach. She's one of the originals. She's lived here on and off for 76 years. She's looking amazing. Sally was actually the person who originally opened Jake's, which is now the famous Jake's Hotel, and was married to Perry Hensel, who made the cult classic The Harder They Come, the reggae film with Jimmy Cliff in it. So there's much to talk about with Sally. To give you an idea of her personality, when we mentioned this interview to her, she said something like, "Oh, we can talk up in a mango tree if you like," which I love. Do you remember saying that?
If it was my sister, you would have had to do that.
Really?
Oh, yes.
I would have been okay. So Sally, thank you for having us here in your beautiful house.
Delighted, delighted.
Let's start with right back. Where were you born?
In Mandeville, which is the center of the island, and Treasure Beach was the nearest sea to Mandeville. That's why my parents chose to come here
Okay.
and make their beach cottage here.
And what was Treasure Beach like back then?
It was very sweet. You came down, you were on sandy roads. Of course, there was no electricity. The canoes were not these colossal things you see here now. They were tiny and they were made of cotton trees.
Yeah.
And they had sails, not engines.
Okay, yeah.
And people used to bring their produce down onto the beach, and that was the market, with the market ladies and the fish coming in. It was lovely.
So it's changed a lot as in your time.
When my mother and father tried to keep it very quiet, the tourist board used to come down and say, well, we think we should start, marketing this place. And my mother, oh, no. She said, sharks, bad weather,
Trying to put them off.
mosquitoes, people drown.
You don't want to come here, it's horrible.
So,
Oh,
it
that's
wasn't
brilliant.
till we got Jakes going that everything started to happen. My mother kept putting them off.
That's funny. So when did you first see the plot that became Jake's?
Just like 3 months before I bought it. It was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. I was just here staying at Treasure Court with the children for a weekend. Perry wasn't even here. He must have been traveling. And as I was walking down the beach, somebody pointed and said, you see that piece of land over there for sale, And I said, really? Mm-hmm. That piece of land is where we used to walk down the reef from Treasure Beach, and Daddy would goggle fish, as it was called then, and we would swim and watch him shoot breakfast. And it was also the place we went on a picnic when I wanted to give up my horse and have a donkey. And it was, that
You had a horse. Did you used to ride up and down the beach?
No, we had horses in Mandeville.
Okay.
Yeah, we rode donkeys down here. And I hated my horse. And I said, I hate Christabel. I want to ride a donkey instead. So they said, all right. And we came down and got a donkey.
That's awesome.
It was right there.
So when you bought the plot, did you make it a restaurant first, or was it a home for you first?
It was the what is now the lobby was 4 rooms.
Okay.
And I just envisioned it as a cute little house for Perry, myself, and the children.
Okay, so everyone we've spoken to here says that there's something magical about this area, Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, but no one seems to be able to put their finger on it. Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's the people, This little enclave is very special in this way that there was a shipwreck here in either late 17 something, early 18, and of Scots people, and they never left, and they intermarried with who was here, and I don't know, it's their spirit. I mean, they're now, it's a nice mix.
Right, it's a diverse mix.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's partly that, partly the scenery, the fact that it was left out in the cold when, the whole North Coast was developed and nobody ever came here. So we don't have that tradition of tourism that they do.
But I think that's part of the key, because I went to the north before I came to the south, just because I landed up in the north. And it was when I arrived here that I felt that I was in what perhaps Jamaica used to be like. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
felt real. It felt.
Genuine.
I liked the north, but of course, this is my. Maybe it's just me. It's more me. It's more rustic. It's more.
It's
I teach
everybody.
yoga. I
It's
like the
more,
vibe.
It's more genuine, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Certainly is.
And because it's such a small village, everybody knows the farmers and the boat people and the fishermen, and people can walk down the road and not be worry, you know, where they're going. The whole key is that it's small.
It's small, and so everyone knows everyone, and they help each other out. You get the impression.
Yes, well, the whole of Jamaica is like that.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You have anything wrong with your car and stop in the road anywhere, and bang, a car will come. What's the matter? Oh, you don't have a jack? We lift up the car while you change the tire. Promise you, it's like
That's
that.
awesome.
To go back, you see, when in the 30s, the only place here was the Treasure Beach Hotel. And in the 40s came, and there were few people from Mandeville came and built houses here. So we've seen it go from that to this, you know. But it was fun in those days. It was they used to show movies. They used to set up a sheet and build a little fence so that not everybody had to pay to come see the sheet.
Right.
And the man would come with his reels of film. And
I love that.
yes. And then, you know, once the reel stopped, and then there would be a break while they put on the new reel. And then we were sitting on these old benches that sometimes they fell off, sometimes the reel started and there would be a fisherman or two right, you know, on the screen, and I had to get off. And
That's great.
yes, yes. And we went for donkey rides. And one of the things we did was go look at the wells, because in those days people had wells for their drinking water, including
really?
us, yes.
Okay.
It tasted a bit brackish, but it was drinkable.
But you're still here.
Yes. Jason, he is a dynamo. He just has one brilliant idea after another. And the thing is that he goes for it. You know, I have an idea and fizzles out of my head.
Yeah, most of us do that, have that.
But he really persevere and push his ambition through and do it. You
It's
know, I mean, don't be,
impressive.
he's taken my little 3 rooms and made it into 60, you know, quite
Yeah.
happily. And then Justine is also amazing. Now, Justine stayed in Kingston, and she took over from Perry when Perry died. She took his 2 films and his 2 books, and she's been very instrumental in getting them organized, as well as doing her own thing,
Great.
making her own movie.
Oh,
My
really?
granddaughter is at USC, becoming a film producer.
Oh, fantastic.
My grandson, my niece, nephew, everybody's involved in film.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Perry was the first, but they...
Wow, so it's in the blood.
Yes.
Creative family.
Yes. The whole community thing, that is his baby, you know, and it's happening, and people are noticing it, and other parts of Jamaica are also following this lead and involving the community in tourism.
What are your thoughts on community tourism, which has done so well in this region?
Well, I'm so pleased to see that Diana McIntyre Pike and Jason Hensel have championed this community tourism business, because, you know, like any other new idea, when you start off, people say, what on earth is this? What do you
Yes.
mean community tourism? You have 5-star hotels and all-inclusive hotels on the North Coast. They do tourism. Well, Diana Pike was relentless. And Jason didn't bother with the talk too much. He just went to Jake's. I mean, when you went to Jake's the first time, people from around here say, how can that be tourism?
Really?
Of course, because it was so rustic. But that's exactly what they
Some people
wanted.
want, but it's
And
like
they
some
just,
people want.
that's what some
Like
people
me,
wanted.
yeah.
And they just flocked to the place.
Yeah.
So Jason
Interesting.
has, and Diane and other people like them have made sure South St. Elizabeth, and especially Southeast St. Elizabeth, has become a place where, and South Manchester, become
Yes.
a place where you talk about and you practice and you do community tourism, which means people come into people's houses, they eat the normal food that ordinary Jamaicans eat. They see
Yes.
goats, they see pigs, they walk to Lover's Leap, they see Jamaicans walk from lower part of the mountain up, and it's no issue. And they understand the safety, and the farmers, how they farm, and they have their gardens.
They eat the local
They eat the
produce.
local produce. It's clean. They catch their own water from their roofs, but there's renewable water going on. And so you see that community tourism that many people want to see, the same reason why through Airbnb, I understand. Many people are going to Trenchtown, which from your reading you would know, you hear it's a ghetto.
Yeah, don't go there. Don't, very
many
dangerous.
many
Gangs.
Caucasians go there. They rent a room and they enjoy their Airbnb experience.
Isn't that great?
And say I remember driving up to a place called Serendipity, way up in the top of St. Andrew. My wife is taking up say, let's go to tea into this place. I've never been up there. Bush.
You saw
Rough road.
tourists.
I see this Caucasian man and his wife and these two, if you don't mind, lily white children.
Yeah.
Really white. I mean, not like you with your tan from Treasure Beach, but they're just out of Britain or Northern Europe. And I stopped. I said, so pleased to see you here. How do you get here? She says to me that we're here because we're staying with whatever his name is,
A
a Rastafarian man. So how did you find him? Oh, we found him on the internet, an Airbnb. So this is that's a sort of community tourism as well. But we have developed it. Jason and Diane and the rest of the people around here have
someone
developed
called
it
Desmond
really.
Henry.
Yes,
Heard of him? Yeah.
yes, done it very well around here.
Yes.
Desmond and his family.
Yeah.
And it's so different from North Coast tourism
Yes, it is.
and even the Northeast tourism of Portland, which I know you've been.
Port Antonio.
Port Antonio and east of that, again quite different.
Yeah.
So we're developing a brand of tourism down here that really is special to Jamaica.
It is. I love that story about Trenchtown, people visiting Trenchtown.
That's
'Cause
right.
It's like, anywhere where you're told it's dangerous, there are gangs, don't go anywhere near it. And you have, tourists just rocking up.
Oh,
Just,
they-
I don't care, I
and-
want to learn about Bob Marley.
And they have the picnics and the dances in the evening. They join in
Right. that's
because it's in
great.
the street.
And they're in the hood that Bob Marley lived in. They want to feel it, breathe it, and
There's no
understand
big veranda like this.
Yes.
It's right in the street, and they enjoy it. That's what they go for.
You've got to hand it to them.
Yes.
Hi, I'm here in Mandeville now at the Mandeville Hotel, one of the oldest hotels in Jamaica, I believe, with Diana McIntyre Pike. Diana, can you start by telling us your title, like what you do?
Of course I can. I know I have many titles, but I'll give you the main one. I'd like to first welcome you to Mandeville, which is known as the Marvelous Mandeville.
Right.
It's not a small place either. It's 120,000 people with 14 shopping centres, and it has a number of medical centres, the hospital, regional hospital, and we also have agricultural centre and educational centre. My title is President and Founder of the Country Style Community Tourism Network,
Right.
and the President of the International Institute for Peaceful Tourism, Caribbean Chapter, and the International Institute for Peaceful Tourism International Community Tourism Network,
Right.
which involves over 70 countries.
Quite a mouthful, isn't it?
Yes, but it all works together.
Of course.
Yes. Oh, it's been a very interesting and exciting journey. As I mentioned, the mindset was from my mother, who showed me how to entertain people in the natural way, not create things for visitors.
Yeah.
Visitors wanted to mingle with us as we are.
Absolutely.
So I went from there, I went and studied in England. And when I went to England and studied, hotel management and catering, I saw people lining up to look at old churches and so on. So I said, "What, we have that in Jamaica." And I was then given a job when I came back at Holiday Inn. First time I went to the resort to work. And Holiday Inn, after 3 months, I decided to introduce a Jamaica Chit Chat session. That was in 1973. And it was a big success. Visitors went out of the hotel with the community, and it was so exciting that I was awarded a scholarship to Germany. So I left there and went to Runaway Bay Hotel, which is now the Jewels Hotel. And from there, I returned to Jamaica in 1977 and met the then Director of Tourism, Desmond Henry, who's from Treasure Beach.
I was going to ask you about him. I've heard his name a few times since
Yes.
I've been here. Tell me about Desmond.
Desmond was a very dynamic Director of Tourism, a very dynamic person, very passionate about Treasure Beach, Great Bay, where he had his cottage, and he grew up in that area. And when I went to him and told him about what I was doing over the years and where my mind was, my passion, he said, "Well, guess what? I endorse it, let's get together." So together we formed the South Coast Marketing Company. And we said we had to find a name to brand it. So in my hotel, the Astra Country, which is now closed for upgrading, we sat in the dining room and came up with the name Community Tourism.
What year was that?
That was 1978, 40 years ago. We're celebrating 40 years this year.
So this is key because I've worked in that kind of tourism much of my life. 1978, you say?
Yeah, we call
Here
it
in
community
Jamaica,
tourism.
The term was coined. Community
tourism. And we took it worldwide through the IIPT.
And was the idea to have people come and see, the culture as it is, have people interact with the locals for the good of all?
Yes.
And obviously work with local, products and...
Give support to community projects and events that took place, etc. Yes, that was the whole idea. And the area bought into it, and we chose Mandeville and Treasure Beach as our first stop.
Okay, so this whole idea of working with the community first and sort of bringing tourism in to complement that second,
yes,
has been in the blood, in the veins of people here for 40 odd years.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
We are the hub of community tourism.
Right.
The Central and South area is the hub of community tourism.
So when I've worked in Peru building weaving workshops with the locals, or in Africa with a book bus for children there, or in Fiji doing rainforest harvesting, or whatever it might have been, not rainforest, rainwater harvesting.
Yes.
That concept began here.
What I should say to you is that maybe people from before we started did not call it community tourism. People have been enjoying the world many times, all over. But the brand name of community tourism started here in the world.
Right.
Yes.
So people might have had similar ideas globally, but it's
yes,
now
I think that's
community
important
tourism.
to state. Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
Okay. So could you tell me about this international peace tourism concept?
Yes, we have the International Institute for Peace Through Tourism, which is very important. The IPT, Community Tourism, was started way back in 32 years ago. They were the ones that conceived sustainable tourism brand.
Right.
And we are very proud of that. And the IPT has been very instrumental in marketing us internationally. They are the ones that branded us the home of community tourism. And, they're dedicated to fostering travel and tourism initiatives and poverty reduction, reconciliation of healing wounds of conflict. And it's founded on the vision of the world's largest industry, travel and tourism, and becoming the world's first global peace industry, and the belief that every traveler is an ambassador for peace.
Treasure Beach is a special little place in Jamaica. It has a tourism unlike any other. Not a Mobile, not a Negril, not a Ochi. It's more environmentally aware. It's more community-based tourism where, like Jason is here now and he has his place, the farmers will come, Jason will buy their products. So it's more, and if you check Jason's history, he's always doing a lot of things for the community. And being next door to him, I really want to contribute or participate in what he's doing, because, not just because he's Jason Hensel, but being on the board with him, I look how we go about doing things, I look the things he has to say in our discussion and deliberation on the board, And I give thanks to know somebody like Jason. Not many people you can find in Jason's position who is going to be just that down to earth, you know, and can speak how he speaks, you know, on behalf of the people, have this I think maybe you get a lot of that from his father. I don't know, but I mean...
Perry Hensel.
Yeah, you know, and you know Perry was the producer of Harder They Come, my first Jamaican-based movie with Jimmy Cliff, you know. So I think it's only wise and good that Jason is continuing in his father's footsteps, where he can use the product coming out of his community, coming out of his environment, to create a next internationally marketable product.
Okay, my name is Yvonne Clark. My role at Jake's is I'm a senior manager. I was once the GM and resident manager. I lived on the property for about 14 and a half years. But it's a blessing because I found Jake's.
And it's like a family affair, right? You and your
Absolutely.
both your sons work here?
Absolutely. Both my sons, they drive, do the transfers for Jake's. And the eldest son, he's been working here for about 15 years. The team at Jake's, the complete team, Jake's and Jack Spratz, and now Loversley, we feel like we're a family. We're very closely knit. A lot of us have been working here for a long time. We don't have a big turnover of staff, which is very special, and we believe in supporting the community. So majority of our staff is from the community. My favorite thing is meeting all the guests. I'm a very people's person, a very hands-on person, and I get to know people from across the world. And I think it's very special. Guests leave here feeling very special, and because they feel as though they're spending their time with very close friends or family. Some of them cry when they leave, you know, and we cry with them. Jake's, as I told you before, Jake's supports the community. We support the local fishermen. We buy their daily catches. We support the local farmers. We take, all our food is local. 99.9% of our food that we consume and our guests consume is local. You know, I want to see it growing, more farmers doing organic farming because everybody's health conscious these days and we want to go that way, you know, be holistic. Where we are in Treasure Beach, it's a gem, absolute gem. We don't have any crime rates here, you know, knock on wood. Everybody knows everybody in this community. And our guests is safe to walk night or day throughout the community, you know. Everybody says hello, everybody is friendly, everybody is independent and work very hard. So I really think we're very special. I don't know, at Treasure Beach, like I said before, everybody knows everybody in Treasure Beach. So if there's a stranger in this community, we know, right? We work very closely. The police is very close to us. In my opinion, they don't work as hard as other police in Jamaica because it's so quiet and laid back down here. I would like Treasure Beach to remain low density and not to spoil the environment because it's so special, you know? So I want people to be educated about the fishing, about farming, and about general sustainability for Treasure Beach. This weekend we have our farm-to-table dinner, and that's very unique to Jake's, where we set up a table in the farm and guests are invited, or you don't have to be a guest at Jake's, you know, and we provide transportation, so it's a package. And it is so wonderful to the mix at the table. So whatever is produced on the farm, or maybe it's from the sea, we serve it at the farm-to-table dinner. So everybody loves to go because it's such a unique experience. At Jack Spratz on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock, we will show a movie, mainly Jamaican movie. It could be a comedy or it could be a Jamaican movie. Harder They Come, you know, Smile Orange. You know, people love to come and have a pizza, ice cream, or, you know, whatever they eat and watch a movie on the outside. The atmosphere, people sit on the lawn and they feel quite relaxed, and that's very special. The Calabash Literary Festival, it's coming up, comes around every other year. And listen, Treasure Beach comes alive with the festival. Everybody benefits from this festival. If you have a room in your house, in a bathroom, it'll go, I can guarantee you. That's all. So everybody in the community looks forward to the Treasure Beach Festival, the Treasure Beach Calabash Festival. We also have the fishing tournament. That's a breads thing, and we have that every October and the National Heroes Weekend. So the fishermen look forward to that as well because they get prizes, you know, like they get wires to make their fish traps, and sometimes they get an engine for their boats. And so we have a competition who get the biggest catch. So that's another thing to look forward to.
I'm Randy Taylor. I'm the head chef of the kitchen / team leader. I was born right here in Treasure Beach and raised right here. My mom had a restaurant just down the road right there, and as a little kid growing up, I always like pop into the kitchen in and out, and that's where it all started. Went to high school, and that's where like get into the culinary fields at the school. And then after high school I was supposed to go to this college, and a culinary college, and the company decided, I came here at Jake's on experience, and then Jake's decided, oh, Randy, you could come over and help on the weekends and stuff like that when you're not busy. And that's where I start like helping out. And then further along the line, I know they wanted me to like come on board fully, and that's where it all started. I would say 90% of our produce that we use here at Jake's is like organic, because we try to work with a lot of organic farms in and around the area, and it's like growing a lot more larger than how it was like a few years back, because lots of person going towards organic farming, and all of our produce and fish is all local. We try to avoid all the imported stuff, no imported, just local grown. And if we don't have a specific crop to prepare like certain dish, then we'll have to like put that dish aside until we get stuff that is in season and around.
My name is Colleen Powell, and I'm the assistant manager here at Jake's. I've been here 17 years. I started out as an intern doing front office. From there, I became a permanent member of staff at the front office doing front desk and reservations. From there, I became the manager a few years later, and today I'm now the assistant manager after 17 years. So I'm really enjoying my time here at Jake's. I enjoy Jake's because of the environment itself and the people that it attracts. It's more coming back to home, where it is very laid back, very community-based. Our guests, whenever they come to Jake's, we like for them to feel at home, as if they're staying with families, intertwining with the community. It's very laid back, it's safe in the community, so they feel welcome to stop at the little grocery stores, at the little bars with the locals, hanging out, listening to the reggae music, the craftsmen along the pathway, saying hello. So it's really much into the community that keeps me here this long. And it's one of the best, I must say, staff, management, the guests, the daily interactions.
So here we are in Sandy Hill Bay, just down the beach from Treasure Beach. And I'm here with Captain Dennis.
Yes.
Wagawan.
There, everything good. Yes,
Great.
Yes,
Great.
Good to have you.
Very happy to be here. This place is
Same here.
amazing, man.
It is amazing.
Beautiful.
It is amazing, and you know, I'm happy to have this life. It's a free environment. It's anyone should ever have this opportunity to, you know, to bond and grow up into this environment. I would consider to be very lucky.
Absolutely.
You know,
so would I. So where did you grow up? Where were you born?
I born and raised in the Treasure Beach community. I grew up there, and I grew up with nothing more than love and great people.
How beautiful is that?
It is.
That's what we
It
need
is.
in the world.
That's what we need, more love.
I love that.
Yes.
That's your motto on your boat, right?
That's the motto on my boat and also on my shirt, at the back of my shirt, yeah.
Love is all you need.
Love is
The
all you
Beatles
need.
got it right.
They do.
So how much in your eyes, through your eyes, has Treasure Beach changed over the years?
Treasure Beach have changed in, I would say, from fishing and farming, now into farming, fishing and tourism.
Right.
And to me, with a population of 3,500 people, I think it's just right to have the combination of three things of such value. Because before it was just fishing and farming, as I said, and fishing is unfortunate down the plating down, right? So we don't have as much fish as we used to have anymore.
Right.
So now that we have tourism come into play, and when I say tourism, I don't want you get the impression that it's a wide scale of tourism. I'm talking about home of community tourism. You know what I mean? The tourism that we offer in Treasure Beach is where people come and feel like they're at home, where you can sit with the local like myself, like what we're doing now,
Yeah.
and you can ask just about any question. We can reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can come at my house at any time and you said, I'm going up to Captain Dennis' house to have some dinner with his family.
Isn't that great?
And that's the kind of tourism that we have in Treasure Beach.
It's inclusive. People feel they can be part of the community and get to know the place well. They're not stuck in, a building.
In an all-inclusive building.
Right,
they
that's a
could just
different
go
experience.
Just about anywhere,
Yeah.
So it's not about just the beach and the sun. It's also about the culture, the food, the people. You know what I mean? And when people come here, they must feel that love. They must feel that energy.
Right.
And that's what we want in Treasure Beach. That's what we intend to grow in Treasure Beach. Because we want the culture to remain this way. People like Roger, the young guy that is on the boat with us, to understand, the value of community tourism, and when people come here, how to treat them right, to show them love and respect.
Well, I can tell you as someone who's come here that I feel it. I feel that, and that's why I've come back. This is my second visit a year later, so it's working.
It is very chilling. It's very chilling when born and raised into a community and hear people from many miles away from England, from Europe, from the USA, Canada, and come in here and tell you that, you have a beautiful community. I love your community. Whenever time I hear that, it chills. It's one of the best gifts anyone could ever give to me.
That must be really special to hear.
It is very special.
Yeah.
It is very special. And to hear that so often,
right,
tell you that people love it. You have people who, the other day I take out a gentleman and he said to me, Captain, this is my 20th time to Treasure Beach.
Really?
And I said,
it's got something special, something magic that draws people back.
And
so
that
what
to me
is that?
The love.
What is the love?
Love
and
of the
that
people.
love is from this particular community?
This particular community, no other part of Jamaica will show you and give you this feeling of love as what we have here in Treasure Beach, and it's naturally.
And is that the people, or is it part to do with the environment here, this southern Jamaica, this region?
The people are hardworking people. They're very independent. They work hard, and the environment that we work around and what we live in, we understand it. You know what I mean? And therefore we take care of it. And you can feel that energy. So it breathes in and out through us into the environment into us. And it's, it is a wealth that you can't create yourself. You know what I mean?
You're right. It's priceless. So when did you become, Captain Dennis, who goes out in boat, takes people out, brings them here to eat?
Well, it's not just about, Captain Dennis didn't just start by taking people on a boat here.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Dennis would have started at early days back in the 80s. Unfortunate, my father died when I was at tender age, at the age of 9.
Really? Sorry
I didn't have a lot of opportunity, and as I said earlier, fishing was the booming thing in Treasure Beach back then. So at the age of 14, I went off to an island called the Pigeon Keys, where it's 65 miles south of Jamaica.
Right.
Right? And it was all about fishing.
Okay.
And I, being a young boy, went out there and started my fishing career. Yeah?
Very young.
So at the age of 16, 17, I was already a boat captain.
Okay.
And then I returned off the Pigeon Keys and came home back to the mainland in 1993. And that's when I first make my first boat trip to take some tourists up the Black River.
Okay.
Yeah, and from then I started it. And where it is today, so my personality, I put a lot of effort into it, giving people my service to my best of my ability. You know what I mean? And
sure.
Take them and they have a good time. So as I go by, I decide, people start to call me Captain Dennis. So I decided to brand myself as Captain Dennis.
Right. One thing that is very close to my own heart is dolphins. I have loved them my whole life, ever since I can remember. They're my favorite animal. And I know you have a lot of them here. I've seen a few pods here, luckily, when I've gone out in the boat to Pelican Bar. Can you tell me a bit about them? Are there a lot of them? How often are they here?
There's a lot of them. And as you mentioned that you love the dolphins, so do I. It's the same. And the dolphin population here is it's growing extremely and growing well. They will go about 10 miles along the coast most days. I would say 75% of my boat trip, I would see dolphins.
Wow,
yeah,
that's great.
and I put a lot into it, try to find them because I know the joy that it brings to people and myself.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
They make you just feel good. They light you up. There's a
there.
joy, isn't there,
That
with them?
energy they bring
And
into
they're
your
so
soul.
intelligent. Yeah.
Yes, they are. So the population, as I say, is growing, and in my opinion, the reason why this is happening, especially along the south coast, is that we have less development along here in terms of, you know, big hotels or, you know, a lot of pollution. So we don't have that along here. So therefore, we have a lot of bait fish that are coming into our shore, and the dolphins are tracking those and feeding off those daily.
That's awesome. What is it that you love about this area of Jamaica and the community spirit here and the way that they do things?
The way they do things here, I must say, is that, as I said earlier, is one, and I will always repeat that, is the love. Yeah?
Absolutely.
But, and you know, the hard-working people. When you look at, as I said, farming, tourism, and fishing, right? What I love particularly about this place, that people care about each other. They tend to give back. And when you look at tourism in Treasure Beach compared to the rest of Jamaica, is that tourism here offer just about everyone in the community will get a slice of the cake. And it doesn't get better than that.
I've witnessed that. I've seen that.
There you go.
It's real, it's true, and it's impressive, which is why part of why we're here is to show that it's possible, you know, to do it this way, and it's a good example for other places who maybe don't know that that's a way to do things.
Exactly. And that's what I love. And that's why, you know, you walk along the street and you will see people say, hi, how you doing, with a big smile. It's
Absolutely.
that you're happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because whatever you spend here is not going away other places in the world. It is in that community.
Yeah.
It is in the community of Treasure Beach.
You get the impression here that if someone, like some kid needs something, everyone will club together and help, and then in return they will later give back to you, and then you need some food, you go to one guy and he'll pay you back in another way.
And then the good thing about that also is that our visitor that come here and get the culture of the community, you know, what they do, whenever time they come back, they bring school supply. They will look at a child and say, oh, Captain Dennis, I would love to help that child in school.
Really, isn't that?
You know,
so you get, because of who you are here, you draw the right people to you, the kind of people who want to be a part of this sustainable living, empowering, loving community. And they want to give back too.
And they give
so
back
it's a circle.
It's a circle
of goodness.
It's a circle of good things, and they send people.
great.
If they're sending anyone here, they send those same kind of people here and say, listen, you go to Treasure Beach if you want to feel real Jamaica, if you want to have a true experience of the culture of Jamaica, you go to Treasure Beach, meet the people, talk with the people, visit the school, and just see how the kids are happy with the little that they have, and it just light up their vacation.
One love.
One love. Love and happiness. The word is love. Yeah.
How long have you been coming to this region of Jamaica?
We've been coming to Treasure Beach for 26 years.
Yeah, we're in love with it. And the people and everything.
So what is it that keeps bringing you back again and again?
Well, it's just the community, and that's sort of the baseline of the whole place, I think. We were in Negril for 10 years before discovering Treasure Beach, and once we hit Treasure Beach, we really never looked back.
Why would you go anywhere else?
No,
Right,
no.
right.
And when we got to Treasure Beach, we were living over in Itel Rest in Great Bay, which is just a fantastic yard today, perfect Itel place. And we've been painting all the time. We've been coming down 3-month chunks, and we do our watercolors. And,
so you two are painters by profession?
Yes. Yes.
What kind of painting?
We're watercolors.
And is that landscape or?
It's everything. Jenny's a portrait painter and does a lot of the Jamaican folk. I'm more of a landscape still life guy, and we've been connecting. The first year we were here, we walked by what's now Jake's, and Sally was literally pacing out the first building,
And we introduced ourselves, and we fell in love right then with Sally. You know, she was just our best friend and
an angel.
I can understand that because we have done the same process 2 years ago. I fell in love with the place and with Sally and with Jason.
Yeah. It's easy.
You know Jason well too, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
we watched him grow up as he's been watching us.
So will you keep coming back? If I come back in 10 years, will you be here?
We will. We will. And by then, Ginny will be 85. And I'll be 55.
Oh, yeah,
What is it you think is really unique about this particular area of southern Jamaica? I've been trying to put my finger on it throughout the time we've been here. I've asked lots of people, what do you think it is about this community that is different, unique, special?
I think it's the independence of the people, the pride of the people. I think because it's a fishing and farming community, and quite a respectful construction also industry. But because people typically work for themselves, I think that pride and that dignity just comes out. And you know, I think the treasure is the treasure in Treasure Beach is the people. And you know, I've found my treasure here by working with them and having an opportunity to make a difference, you know.
Yeah.